Am I a YouTuber? Yeah. Am I Mr. Fragrance? Yeah. Am I a perfumer? Yeah. No, I'm not. Am I? For today, am I a perfumer? Hell yeah. Welcome back. So this is a tag video I have been tagged in. This is a video where I describe my perfect fragrance, a fragrance if I could make myself a perfume, what would it smell like? This is what it would smell like. So thank you very much to John Morel, or John Merle, as I think that's how you pronounce his second name correctly, for tagging me in this video. Now I've looked through these next three people's feeds, and these are the three people I am going to be tagging to do this video. So the first one is Tim from Smelly Sweed. You have been tagged. The next one is Barry from Centralize. I tagged him recently and he'd actually already done the video, so I'm tagging him in this one. I've looked back through his feed. He has not done this video. I've watched all of his videos recently. He's not done anything on this. So Barry, this is a tag for you. And finally, I'm going to tag someone that I kind of recently, I've not really spoken to them, but I've watched their videos for a long time, but they did comment on a video of mine recently, and basically, if this can be in any way sort of a thank you, maybe not. This is a tag video for Tony from Fragdicted. I love his channel and feel no need to do this video, but I'd love to see what you would create and what fragrance you would create as well. So those are the three people I've tagged, three people that I think are going to be really interesting, and I'm really excited to see what they do, because these are three people that I really appreciate in the community. So I set aside some time and I decided to write out and think of some notes that I would be creating a fragrance based on. This here is a little sample. It's just the tiniest amount at the bottom of this that I actually decided to kind of concoct a little bit. So I'm just going to be creating my perfect kind of midsummer, autumn to winter, kind of midsummer, autumn, winter fragrance. And it's going to have a mix of citruses, some woods, and just a little bit of a hearty benzoin, I think, in there as well. So this is what I created. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new setup. So this is where I will be continuing my channel from. Let's get on with the video though. Here we have, these are the oils that I included in what I would say is my go-to idea of a fragrance if I were asked to make one. Now, let's just put it out there. Okay, I'm not a perfumer. Of course I'm not. And at the same time, these are just essential oils. These are things you can purchase online on eBay. You can purchase them on any store. Amazon, you can get them from. And these are all from the same company. Not any sort of endorsement, but this is from Mother Nature's Goodies, which I always go to when looking for fragrances or oils to include in something like this. Just mocking up, as you might want to call it. So, let's start with the first one. The first top note I'd like to mention that I'm going to include in this is Neroli. Now, I absolutely adore Neroli. It's got this beautiful citrus feel to it, but it has a touch of green to it as well. It's a lovely, it's got hints of like tea-like notes if you use it in kind of higher quantities, but if you use it in smaller quantities, you just get this lovely sweetness. And it's a natural smell that doesn't come with the earthiness that you expect from basically mainly all of these oils that you get online. They all come with a certain earthiness that kind of identifies as being natural. I think this acts as a really nice opening note though, and helps to kind of sympathize with the hotter weather. And I say sympathize, but in the sense that it's kind of relaxed and doesn't mind moving around certain kind of different climates. And Neroli could be used in hotter climates as well as colder climates, because Neroli is so versatile. But Neroli, this is a 5%, this is diluted Neroli, because in itself is a very expensive oil. So yeah, Neroli 5%. This would be a beautiful, beautiful top note alongside some other citruses. So another citrus I would love to include is Bergamot. Now, Bergamot in itself, again, is a lovely citrus, but it has a kick to it that is a bit more different to the Neroli, and it's kind of like a midway in my eyes of grapefruit, orange, and Neroli. It's kind of a midpoint between Neroli and grapefruit, a midpoint between Neroli and orange. It's just got the sharpness, it's got the sweetness, but it has a little leeway in terms of greenness and a versatility again as well, that allows it to be used in all sorts of fragrances. You will find it in fragrances that have really earthy and woody base notes, but you'll also find it in kind of bright fragrances and citrusy fragrances. I'm sure it features in the Acqua di Gio fragrance line. It is a very versatile fragrance, but it is a lovely, lovely oil and a lovely note. Next up is grapefruit. Now, grapefruit is one you have to be very careful with, especially when applying straight to the skin. This is one that you always have to err with caution. Now, the reason you have to be so careful with it is it's actually quite dangerous to the skin if you put it directly on undiluted, at least in its oil form, essential oil form. Yeah, it's not great because it can burn your skin actually, and therefore I must say that if you're going to be buying any of these on eBay, on Amazon, or whatever, these essential oils, make sure you do not put them directly on your skin undiluted, because it can harm you. So the grapefruit is a really nice tangy smell. It's going to complement the rest of the citruses quite well because it's quite tangy, quite a sharp fragrance to add to a group of kind of more subtle citruses. But grapefruit will have to be used in very subtle quantities, otherwise it could be harmful to the rest of the citruses. The final of the citruses I'm going to be talking about is lemon. Now, lemon, of course, this is a classic. I'm sure you knew I was going to include this, but wow, it's just such a lovely rindy finish to it. It does, you can smell the rind in it, you can smell the kind of bitterness to it. But as well as that, you do have the lovely sweetness, the lovely sharpness that you would expect from lemon. This is going to complement the rest of the citruses so well. Absolutely, this is a must-have in a citrus fragrance. If you're going to have Neroli, and if you're going to have Bergamot, if you're going to have grapefruit, this needs to be in there because it is such an essential, at least in my opinion, to citruses. Now in the mid, I plan on having black pepper, and I plan on having ginger. Now, ginger is a really nice note. Its spiciness, its kind of hearty earthiness is very prominent, but it's known for its kind of Asian cuisine in terms of food. And I think the reason it is so light is because it has this almost medicinal, quality to it when used in higher quantities. You want to have this in a fragrance to the point where that doesn't quite come through. I think the best bits about it are using its richness and using its, really overwhelming spiciness in smaller quantities, so that it kind of complements the citrusness, the citrusiness from the lemon, the bergamot, the grapefruit, and the neroli. So ginger can be used very, very well, but it has to be done sparingly. Otherwise, it can become a mess and overwhelming, and actually it can become a little bit unpleasant if you use it too much. But yeah, it's got a really sparkly and tanginess to this, and I think that this is a really lovely note, especially in a fragrance like this. Next up, black pepper. It has the spiciness that you have from the ginger in this. It's got that spiciness, but this is going to be surprising. It actually has a fruitiness to it that you wouldn't quite expect. Now, this fruitiness is coming through because it's actually a fruitiness that you would get more from a fresh pepper kernel. and that would be the red pepper berries. If you've ever tried them fresh in the wild, they are absolutely beautiful. You should really try it. If you're ever abroad, or if you're ever in, say, England, which is where I last had one, you could actually get them up the Yorkshire Dales, some bushes, and you need to be careful when picking berries and eating them, but if you know what you're doing, black pepper berries are absolutely beautiful. It's not the nicest thing to actually eat by itself, but you're getting that coming through in the oil. It's a more fruity spiciness, more than just a kind of plain linear black pepper, cracked black pepper smell that you're used to having. So that there is something to absolutely find an asset in this new fragrance. So this is something I'm looking forward to having. So finally, the base notes in my fragrance would be cedarwood and benzoin. Now, these two complement each other really, really well. The cedarwood has this lovely nuttiness to it, something that you wouldn't quite expect to smell unless you've actually smelled the official oil of it. And then benzoin has this lovely redeeming qualities that many of these other fragrances have. It kind of pulls it all together. I think the benzoin is a little bit like the glue of this fragrance, pulling it all together, and I think that this benzoin is absolutely complemented so well by the cedar. As I said, the cedarwood has a nuttiness to it, and almost sweetness. In fact, yeah, not just almost, definitely there's a sweetness to it. And it's really rich. It's as rich as the ginger. The ginger and the cedar, the most intense things in this, and they have to be used so sparingly. Otherwise, yeah, it's just going to become awful. Cedarwood, if used poorly, can really actually become a little bit more than just a little bit, very medicinal. But in smaller quantities, it's probably the most kind of the two poles, basically. You either got the really awful, far too much medicinal smell, or you're using it in good quantities and it smells really nice. With the benzoin, it's very similar. If used too much, it can actually overpower everything else. It doesn't become particularly unpleasant, but instead it just doesn't really pull these ties together that you would like to have pulled together with the other notes. It helps in smaller quantities be that glue and pull everything together. Benzoin really, when used right, is an absolute match maker. It will basically make the neroli and the lemon come one. It'll make the lemon and the bergamot become one. It'll make the ginger and the black pepper kind of pull together. It's got everything, benzoin. It's almost like everything has been mixed together into one. Yeah, it really is. It's incredible. What an amazing thing benzoin is. It's like the best parts of the perfumery world, all kind of congealed in one beautiful, really thick oil. It's actually more like a syrup, benzoin. But yeah, I absolutely love benzoin. You'll smell it in a lot of your designer fragrances. It's used synthetically in a lot of designer fragrances. I think benzoin should be used more naturally, because benzoin as a natural product is just as beautiful, if not a good bit more, when used like that. So yeah, this is my ideal fragrance. This is what I would create. This is, if I could have one created for me, this is what I would have it smell like. But yeah, thank you so much to John for tagging me in this video, and I hope that you guys like the new setup. This is what I hope the channel to kind of look like for now. It's a little bit more simplistic, but this can be my thing. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time on Mr. Fragrance. Bye for now.